Fears over an economic slowdown weighing on investors around the world. I sat down with Nasdaq President and CEO Adena Friedman yesterday and got her take on markets and growth.
Well, first of all, Nasdaq's business is doing quite well. We've reported through 3 quarters of 2018, and we've seen really great growth across all aspects of our business. Our technology business, which is our fastest growing business, we've seen continued really strong demand from new markets, as well as from our current clients who really want our next generation technology. So that business has had 10% growth through the first 3 quarters. Our data and index business has also had really strong growth in terms of demand for data and our index performance. And then in terms of IPOs, we had 186 IPOs in 2018, and even with that, the listing applications on file right now are 35% higher than they were at this time last year. So we're definitely seeing a lot of companies want to come to market. And so I would say that, and then of course our trading business, because of the markets and how much they moved last year, we had very strong performance across our trading business as well.
I saw the volume was really strong in the last couple of months. What about that in terms of the IPOs? I was really surprised, actually, to see so many IPOs resilient, even in the face of what started to be a really rocky end of year. Do you think we'll see the IPO calendar stay as strong as it looks right now in 19, despite the volatility? So
I would say this. Successful companies and strong companies can come to market and can find investors who are ready to take the risk on them. And that's what you saw in Q4. Even with the market volatility, we had some really great companies come to market and get access to investors.
So what are the big names? Uber, obviously, Lyft, Slack, Pinterest. Are you expecting some of those?
So we don't talk about specific names, but we obviously talk to a lot of companies, whether they're the largest companies or even small entrepreneurs and innovators. They're all looking to come to market. They're getting themselves ready. They're having the right conversations. And for them, it's a matter of having the government open, ready to approve their applications, and then obviously having a receptive market.
What has this volatility in markets, how has that impacted your business?
So in terms of volatility in the 4th quarter, and as we've seen, it's not quite as, we haven't seen as much volatility in January. Certainly, it definitely helps our trading business, but you also want to make sure it doesn't persist because of the fact that then it starts to impact confidence, and as you said, it impacts the investor sentiment around taking risk in the market. But I would say that we've seen definitely it's calming down a bit as we get into 2019. I think people understand that there is always going to be a divergence of views as to economic outlook right now, but we're definitely seeing that it's kind of I would say the investors are being a little bit more sanguine about how they're reflecting that in the market. In terms of the IPOs, though, it's been a slow start, not because of the volatility. In fact, they really want to be out there in the market right now.
The SEC is not open.
It's that the SEC is not open.
Yeah, so the government shutdown has had an impact in that regard. Any other impact?
For us as Nasdaq, no. Obviously, for our clients, yes, there have been other impacts of the government shutdown.
Yeah, let me ask you about the regulatory environment. What do you want to see out of regulation in terms of when we do see a government open again? Regulatory changes, because I know that you and other exchanges have been vocal in terms of some of the strangleholds in terms of the regulatory environment. What do you want to see change?
Sure. Well, our biggest push right now in the government is to look at reforming the proxy advisory firms. Those are firms like and Glass Lewis, where they make very important recommendations on governance matters, and they have an incredible influence on investor behavior, but they have no regulatory oversight. So we're pushing very hard in Congress and at the SEC to create an environment where companies have a better voice in terms of how those governance matters are voted on and what recommendations are made, making sure that the information that they're using is accurate and complete in making those recommendations. So that is definitely job number one. And the second thing that we're focused on is short sale disclosure, making sure companies have an understanding of not only who's buying their stock, but also who's shorting their stock over time. It gives them information to be able to go out and have more productive relationships with their investors.
The first point is it's not a fair playing field.
It's really challenging. It definitely adds to the challenge of being a public company, and what we want is more companies to go public. And I think that you're seeing in Congress and at the SEC, there's a common interest in having more companies go public. The solutions are actually, we're starting to see really bipartisan support for some of these initiatives that are very clear where, as you said, it's just not a level playing field right now.
For a long time, China was really the jewel in terms of the major exchanges in the U.S. There were a lot of Chinese IPOs. Has that slowed down as a result of the spat between the U.S. and China?
Well, it's interesting. Last year, we had, I think it's 20 IPOs from China come to Nasdaq last year. It was actually very successful, and some very large companies came to Nasdaq too. iQIYI and Pinduoduo were two of them. And so even with some of the tension we're seeing with China, the Chinese companies understand that the U.S. environment is a great place to raise capital, the deepest and most liquid markets in the world, and they want to have U.S. investors in their stock.
Where will the growth come from at Nasdaq in the year ahead and the next 3 years?
Well, we continue to see strong signals across all of our businesses in terms of demand for our data, our index performance, as well as our technology performance. It's always hard to know how the IPO environment's going to play out throughout the year, but right now, as I mentioned, we have a very strong pipeline, and then trading continues to be very strong, but of course, again, that's a little bit less predictable.
The data has probably become one of the most important growth engines for the company right now.
Yeah, so our highest growth business is our technology business, but our biggest business is our data and index business, and that has also been a very fast grower for us. The environment, the economic signals continue to be strong, and it's just a matter of whether or not that shows up as we go through the year, but companies still see a really strong business environment right now.
So this whole gloom and doom is a little overdone?
Well, I'm an eternal optimist, but I would say that right now it feels like 2019 is off to a pretty good start.
My thanks to Adena Friedman, President and CEO at Nasdaq.